Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more relationship stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Well, let's crack on with today's first story from No Ride Throwaway, who says, am I the arsehole for saying I'll be driving myself and paying for my own room on the upcoming family vacation so I won't have to be a babysitter? I, 23 male, was repeatedly stuck playing the part of helper and babysitter on family outings. Had to move out of my parents' house because I kept being forced to help watch my 3 nephews. Last year we took a family vacation in summer to the coast. I rode along with my parents and they paid for my hotel room. Only I had to share that room with 3 rowdy boys because my sister and her husband wanted a room to themselves. Fuck that. I was promised time to do my own things on the vacation, but instead I ended up having to help with these kids. I complained to everyone about it and was reminded I was there for free. And then we pretty much did only one thing I wanted to do, which was a tour of an art gallery. I like doing this whenever I'm at the coast, but the kids find it boring. This year my parents have a beach trip planned for June, and they assumed I'd be riding along the same way as last year, but I refused. I said I'd be driving myself and paying for my own hotel stay to have my own room. My parents were shocked and tried to remind me of the cost. I said it was no worry, I got a good job and a decent running car. I can more than afford it. That's when the buts started. I stated the previously listed things as why I'll be driving myself and paying for myself. I want to be able to enjoy this vacation as an adult and not be treated like a child like last year. My parents told my sister, and she called to blow up at me that I'll be ruining the vacation if I'm off doing my own thing, while she has to wrangle her 3 boys. I ended up yelling at her that last year all she did was rope me into her mess. I didn't really get to do much of anything I wanted to do, and I was treated like the bad guy for wanting to just go to an art gallery. I'm a grown man, I deserve my own vacation too. Now my sister is not speaking to me, and my parents are still trying to convince me just to ride with them to keep the peace. I'm still refusing, but the pressure is getting to me. Am I the asshole for not giving in? I know they have a pretty hard time when they won't have another person there to help. Edit. It's been barely an hour since I posted, but my sister is apparently a Reddit lurker in the mornings, and she saw my post. Not only is she furious with me, but she's also upset no one in the comments is siding with her. To make it short, she went on a big rant about how it's hard to be a parent to triplets, and the least I could do is help because I'm young and single and she needs a break. I stood my ground on my decision, and now she's calling our parents to get them involved. I'm expecting a call from them any minute. Now, like I always say, I know it's very easy for me to say these things sat behind a microphone in an office, not dealing with your situation, but I kind of feel like if I was you in this, what I would want to do is just go on a completely separate vacation, like separate from them completely. You can then spend every day doing exactly what you want to do. You want to go to an art gallery, you do you. The absolute entitlement. Not speaking to you because of the shit that she's putting on you. That's absolutely mad, and the parents defending it as well because they're going with a typical line. Say it with me, folks. It's family. We do have an update to this post in a second, but Sam Spade PI says in quotes, my parents told my sister and she called to blow up at me that I'll be ruining the vacation if I'm off doing my own thing, or she has to wrangle her 3 boys. Then says that's a laugh. She's admitted she's ruining your vacation so as to not ruin her own. They're her kids and her responsibility. Not the arsehole, in fact, you're nicer than I would be. I'll just say no thanks, I got other plans and avoid the family vacation altogether. Chroniclosaurus says not the arsehole, do not give in. It's time to stand your ground. This internet stranger is proud of you. Holy shit, never in the history of Am I the Arsehole has there been such a clear-cut case of golden child and scapegoat. I've seen some doozies. I love a doozy. And quotes, I'm a grown man, I deserve my own vacation too. And it says correct. Honestly, what are you getting out of these family vacations? Just go do your own thing and avoid the hassle and stress and pressure to babysit. One more comment from Normal Height who says not the arsehole, and at this point I would personally be saying, okay, you guys have collectively made it very clear that I'm not wanted as adult company, but only as free childcare. I think we'd all be better taking a break from that dynamic in the interest of preserving family feeling, and so I will not come to this year's vacation at all. I wish you guys all the best, but I'll be vacationing alone somewhere else this year. Also tell your parents that you can't keep the peace when someone else is responsible for breaking it. Your sister determined steamrollering of your time and goodwill is not something that you can just lie down and take forever. She's the parent and it's her job to care for her own children, even on vacation. If someone does her the favor of helping out, then she owes them gratitude for the gift, not taking their help for granted and assuming she can force them to sacrifice their entire vacation time. No one owes her that sacrifice, and no, she doesn't get to palm the kids off on other people overnight either. So OP continues in an update and says, well, I'm off work now, so I can tell you more of what went down. I guess you could say it's over. My sister got our parents involved, they looked at my post and were absolutely horrified by the continuous influx of commenters. Yes, they're very angry with me that I posted here, but I told them that if they'd just listened to me to begin with, I'd have never needed to. I'm sick of the whole keep the peace mentality that sacrifices me to placate my sister. They in turn went off on my sister, and to make a long story short, the whole vacation has been cancelled. The hotel wasn't booked yet anyway, but my parents are arguing with my sister is blaming me, and my nephews are crying because they aren't going to the beach. My sister called me at lunch and basically implied that I have no life, which is why I have time to help. I recorded that and told our parents, and that's currently what they're fighting about. Small update. Wasn't going to update again, but here's a little more. Parents said that they won't ever push babysitting of my nephews on me again, and have agreed that what happened last year was unfair to me. Right now, they're very angry with my sister for telling me that I should help her because she thinks I have no life. My sister is playing the victim. My brother-in-law is basically saying nope to the whole mess and spending most of his time at work. Thank you to everyone who's commented. You made my day. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. It's from Birch Bin, who says, am I the asshole for getting upset with my girlfriend because she doesn't want to go out when she's on her period? Some context on our relationship. My girlfriend is great. We've been living together for about 3 months now and everything's been going pretty swell. She's usually very funny and laid back, just nice overall. The only hiccup in our relationship is the entire period thing. For the first 2 or so days, when she gets her period, she doesn't want to do anything. She just comes home from work and curls up on the couch and stays there for the rest of the day, complaining about her stomach. Even if we had plans to do things, she just cancels them. I can't even properly schedule around it because her period seems to come at a semi-random time every month. It really sucks, but I know that girls get cramps and shit during Shark Week, so whatever. I usually put up with it. But this one time I got impatient. I'd reserved dinner at Little Italy in advance and had movie tickets for afterwards. I dressed up nice and waited for her to come home from work. I got off earlier than her. It was supposed to be our special date. I'd planned this weeks in advance. She knew about this weeks in advance, but she started her period that day. Once she got home, she said she was just going to stay home, and I'd have to scrap all the plans. Back to curling up on the couch, sipping iced tea while watching Netflix. I told her, and not angrily mind you, though maybe a little passive-aggressively, that I know other women, I'd lived with other women before, and none of them act like this ever, even when they're on their periods, so I'm at least a weensy bit justified in thinking she could put forward a little more effort into this, and go at least for me. And she lost her shit, like I've never seen before. My ordinarily sweet and kind girlfriend blew her top and called me an arsehole, son of a bitch, piece of shit, etc., and I was in shock. She started crying after that, which is something she almost never does, and locked herself up in her room, and we haven't talked directly since then. I have no idea what to say, and I'm honestly quite upset. Did I really do something so terrible by telling her that? Am I the arsehole? Now look, I'll say straight away, you're going to be the arsehole in this situation from me. I get being upset that plans get cancelled or whatever. Sure, you was excited, you was going out for a meal, going to watch a movie, whatever you was going to do. It sounded great, and of course you'll be a little disappointed when plans don't work out. I think that's kind of natural, right? But knowing and seeing your partner curling up on the couch, you know, to the point that she can't get up, in that much pain, you passively aggressively mention that other women you have lived with never act like this before, even when they're on their periods, is just like face palm situation. And I don't know if it was just miswording in this post or what, but some of the language where it said, but she started her period that day. Her period seems to come at semi-random times every month, so I can't schedule anything. Like, she's making this choice. Like, Today is the day I'm gonna have my period. Like, what the fuck? Women experience periods in different ways. And I'm not saying it's the case in this story, but just one of my previous companies I used to work with this woman who's really, really nice. And she would tell us about how she had endometriosis, and when her period came around, it was absolute hell for her. She could not be in work and she had to be at home to be able to manage it. You could see in her face how much pain she was in, and it was awful to see. And in the comments, Cal Little says, "You're the arsehole. Periods are different for every girl, and some of them are absolutely horrifying. When I was younger, before I had my IUD, I had periods that lasted 2 weeks, extremely heavy and agonizing to the point where I couldn't move for a few days every month. If you know she has bad periods, either leave her alone or ask what you can do to help. Never try to blame her for being in pain you can't imagine." Activity Book says, "You're the arsehole," and quotes a section and says, "In your defense, you may claim not knowing how bad periods can be, but your attitude is not right. Passively aggressively plus I know other women plus go at least for me. Think about it. Best case scenario, she goes out with you while in pain. She feels bad the whole time. She's unable to enjoy the date. Would you still have a good time? You argue that, in quotes, she knew about this weeks in advance, then says, but you knew this, in quotes again, saying, I can't properly schedule around it because her period seems to come at semi-random times every month. Then says she didn't choose to be in pain in order to cancel the date. This is not her fault. Based on what you know, you both should make more flexible plans. Together you can come up with a good strategy to deal with the situation. Maybe next time something like this happens, you could go for a beer with a friend." Another user says, "Sigh dude, you're the arsehole. Don't compare what she's going through to what other women experience when they're on their periods. I had one girlfriend who had no period pains and they came irregularly. I had another girlfriend whose entire mood and personality changes because her hormones fucked her up so bad on her period. Not to mention her pain was pretty bad too. I get why you're upset, but like you all knew about this event weeks in advance, you also knew the trend of her periods for a while now. Once she gets a period, it's game over. You definitely fucked up when you got passive aggressive with her in a time when she's potentially not in a good state of mind and probably going through some pain. The pain can literally feel as sharp as a knife stab sometimes. One lost date in a worthwhile relationship will be fine. Breathe, apologize to your girlfriend because you recognize where you messed up and that she's got this harder than you right now, and spend a nice quiet night together. Also next time, try to plan something fancy for a little more short term if you can." One more comment from Swims, who says, "You're the arsehole for comparing her experience with other women and undermining how shit she might be feeling. The biggest fucking joke of being a woman is that every girl has wildly different hormones and different hormonal reaction to things. I can't compare types of birth control with friends because we react in totally opposite ways. We have no real control over how we react. You need to talk with your girlfriend and understand her cycle. How does her mood change? How much pain is she in, and are there meds that help? Does she feel nauseous? Understand what she's going through, and then maybe you won't be so annoyed when she cancels on you, because I definitely understand how that's a pain in the ass. But could you really enjoy a romantic evening with her if she was in pain, fatigued and nauseous the whole time?" So OP does update the post, and they say the general consensus was that I was being a raging arsehole, though a few thought I was just ignorant. It's been a while since I made that post, and my conclusion is that I am probably both. I've done a lot of thinking about my behavior that week, and I've realized a lot of things. This isn't something that I wrote in my original post because it was off topic and sounded like I was just making excuses for myself. But my dad passed away earlier that week and I'd been in a terrible mood. I wasn't acting like myself at all. Instead of coping in a healthy way, I'd been looking to my girlfriend for a pick-me-up and unfairly blaming her when she failed to deliver, for a reason completely out of her control. The date wasn't really for her, it was for me, and that's what I'd been trying to avoid thinking about. I was behaving very selfishly and trying to convince myself that I was just upset because this problem had happened before. The truth was, her period getting in the way of dates had never really bothered me before this time around. I was just looking for reasons to justify my own anger. That was extremely immature of me, to say the least. I apologized to my girlfriend, and because she's an angel, she accepted the apology. Because of the comments suggesting that she may have a medical problem, I asked her if she had PCOS or endometriosis. And surprisingly enough, she said that she had never been examined for either. We went to have her examined, and it turns out she has PCOS, which essentially means she has cysts in her ovaries, which explains the irregular periods and extreme pain during them. So yeah, I felt horribly guilty about blaming her for that. Luckily, she has not seen some of the other symptoms of it, weight gain and hair growth, but she is pretty worried that they will appear. She'll be getting regular treatment from now on, so I'm hopeful that she will see some relief soon. And I think firstly, gotta say, I'm extremely sorry for the loss of your father, and I'm glad to see that OP was able to take some self-reflection and realize what was going on in their own lives, and like I said, just reflecting on what they said and making positive steps to correct what they did. And it's another positive out of this was seeing that she was able to get a diagnosis and hopefully receive a plan or treatment to help her deal with the symptoms. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? What do you think of the update? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. And our next story comes from Blazed Toucan, who says, "Am I the arsehole for kicking my brother out of my house because he was smoking weed?" And does come with an update as well. "I was an addict from the ages 17 to 19 and would have really bad episodes if I didn't get my fix. Once I turned 20 though, I was determined to turn my life around and went to rehab. My parents and siblings helped me through that, and I'm forever grateful to them for that. I'm now 26 and 6 years clean. Haven't touched drugs or alcohol since I was 19 and plan on never doing so again. My brother is 23 and asked if he could stay at my place for a bit because his roommate moved in with his girl and he couldn't afford his apartment. I gladly say yes, let him live free, a way for me to thank him for being there for me when I was going through my addiction. I thought I was more than fair by the rules. I had of no drugs or alcohol in the house whatsoever. If he wants to drink or smoke, do it at a friend's house and keep the living room and kitchen clean. Not super clean, but not a complete pigsty either. The first month or so is perfect and we got along great for the time he was here. The real problem started about month 2. Incident 1. He brought booze into my house and was drinking. He said he was sorry and I forgave him because he never offered me any and convinced me that I was being too strict, so we agreed that he can drink as long as it's always in his room, never where I can see it. Incident 2. I was away on a business trip for a couple of days and he throws a huge party at my house, like club style parties, and the house is trashed. When I get back, the house is clean, but it reeks of pot, cigarettes and alcohol. At this point I'm pretty pissed and tell him he's on thin ice. Incident 3. This is the one that did it for me. I came home late at night and there he is right on the living room couch, a bong in hand and smoking right in my living room. I'll admit I acted out of anger, but I gave him 3 chances. I grabbed the bong out of his hand and told him to get the fuck out of my house. Then he gets all angry and tells me that I'm being over dramatic and I'm too strict. I feel super disrespected at this point and slam the bong down right on the floor and it shatters into pieces, and I tell him to pack his shit and get the fuck out. Late that night I get a text from my sister asking why I kicked our brother out, and I tell her the full story. She's shocked but told me that I shouldn't have kicked him out and we should talk it out. My brother was forced to move back in with our parents and now he's not speaking to me. I decide to take my sister's advice, so I text him last night saying that I'm willing to talk this out when he feels ready. So am I the arsehole for kicking out my brother for smoking weed, even though he knows I was an addict? Now, this is a not the arsehole from me. You was kind enough to take him in when he was in need. You set up some very simple rules and boundaries about alcohol and drugs and, just keeping the kitchen clean, etc. You give us 3 very clear examples where, he's breaking those rules and just showing an utter lack of respect. Having a massive party in your house when you're away. If I was in his situation, someone and took me in, gave me those simple rules, I would be following them to the T, making their life as easy as possible, not having to look out for me and, watch my behavior, etc. There is a tiny bit at the back of my mind, and obviously I don't want to diagnose or anything like that, but is he going through something similar? I don't know. But in the comments, Ring says, "Not the arsehole, you did tell him many times and he's already shown he doesn't respect your house. He can enjoy being back at home." Polo says, "Not the arsehole, you gave him plenty of chances after he repeatedly broke the rules you set. Not only that, but you set those rules for a reason, and a good one at that. Recovery is extremely important, and as your brother, he should have respected that. He either doesn't care enough about your sobriety, or is genuinely ignorant to why those house rules are so important for you to stay sober. 6 years sober is no small feat. You might think you're cured. in quotes, a common misconception about recovery, and therefore having drugs and alcohol in the house doesn't seem as a big a deal to him. Yofflem says, not the arsehole, you have to do what's best for you. You laid out the rules fair and square and he broke them. Good on you for sticking to your guns and your sobriety. I can't imagine how hard that must have been for you. I'm sure once the dust settles, your brother will be willing to work things out. Bouncing from one house to the next is probably incredibly frustrating. Just sucks that he's taking it out on someone who wants to help. And another user says, everyone sucks here. Your brother should respect your illness and how much you struggle with drugs. I say illness because you've stepped beyond the use in moderation attitude and moved into the kill it with fire if I see it attitude. The rules obviously were never going to work for your brother's lifestyle. Now, since he's your bro, I can assume you already knew this and chose to take him in anyway, which leaves you in the position of finally catching him in the act. Whatever moral high ground you're feeling you got from the catch, at the end of the day, you still kicked your brother out of the house. Definitely an arsehole move in my eyes. Hope you can both move on from this. Best of luck to you. So OP does give a small update on their post. They say, I cannot believe it's been a month since I posted that. Me and my brother talked like a week after I posted that and had a heart-to-heart. I basically told him I love him, but I can't have him risk my health. So I said he couldn't stay with me anymore. I also said I want a formal apology if we're going to be good. He told me he isn't going to apologize, and so that was the end of the conversation. About last week he called me and wanted to talk again, which I agreed to. We had a real heart-to-heart after like 2 weeks of no contact, and he apologized for compromising my health. I apologized for breaking his bong. He isn't allowed in my house, but we made up and are on good terms again. Edit, I left out the fact that I paid for his bong that I broke. Edit, I'm a guy, also not a girl. Lol. And just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, your support, your time always means the absolute world to me. So once again, thank you so much, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. Take care and much love.